What's up YouTube, this is Arlyoshi as usual. I'm Max bringing you more Let's Play Asagao Academy Normal Boots Club. Last time, we got John pretty mad. He was saying he wanted to quit the drama club and we were trying to dissuade him. And then some really bad stuff was said, like Hana decided to say, well, Jock was just a computer program. John got pretty mad at us. But then over time he started getting better, thanks to BBG. And then Shane pointed out that Jacques was missing, and John got really defensive, and then the two of them had an argument, and John stormed off. And now, we're deciding whether to give him his space or go after him. Now, I'm fairly certain I made a wrong choice with trying to dissuade him. Then again, I remembered in between episodes, Shane said, like, right at the start, or not right at the start, but a while ago, it was right close to the end before we chose a guy. Anyway, point being, strategy is always, is what he said. The choice we make now might not seem to benefit us immediately. So I'm thinking maybe I did make the right choice, it just resulted in an argument at first. So, now thinking this over, assuming John is actually feeling better now, because he was feeling better before Shane pointed this out, he's a bit defensive, but that's just to kind of keep it a secret. He seems to be better, more or less. He's just currently in a bad mood. With that in mind, putting myself in his shoes, if I was mad because someone was like figuring out a secret of mine, I kind of stormed off defensively. If there was someone who already knew the secret, I don't think I would be too mad about them coming by to talk about it. Like, even knowing what happened with Hana earlier and how John reacted to that, I feel like he wouldn't be too mad. We could at least try to make things better. So, and giving him his space just means he's going to stew and probably maybe go back into his depression. So, we're going to go after him. Sorry. I'll be going on ahead. As I stood and gathered my things, something like relief crossed the others' faces. I don't think I've seen that facial expression yet. Just let him do whatever he needs to do. I'm sure you'll help. The others nodded and murmured their support. I smiled. Thanks, guys. Just before I left, Shane grabbed a hold of my arm. Tell John I'm sorry, too. I will, Shane. Don't worry. As I dumped my tray, I found myself chuckling. Shane and John were more similar than I thought. They always found a way to say just the wrong thing at exactly the wrong time. Hey, newsflash. You do that too. I found John sitting on a bench just outside of the cafeteria, gazing into the branches of one of Asagao's many well-maintained trees. He didn't look up as I sat down, and I didn't say anything. Instead, I kept him company, listening to the wind gently whistle through the branches. I'm sorry about what I said, Hana. Oh! Don't worry about it. It's all water under the bridge. I shouldn't have... I know you were in a rough place. I should have thought more before I suggested it to you. John nodded slowly. Shane says he's sorry. He doesn't have to be sorry. I'm the one who overreacted. He just says what's on his mind, doesn't he? Yeah, that's what I like about him. There wasn't much either of us could say. I wanted to broach the subject of the pet store again, but I wasn't about to destroy the relative peace of this moment. Hana? Do not bring that up again. He reacted terribly last time, and just because he's apologizing for it doesn't mean he's going to react any better if you bring it up again. Here's an example. Let's say, let's say your best friend dies. And someone's like, how would you go get a new best friend? You could react all you want then, and then apologize later for overreacting. What if they say, so about getting that new best friend, you think you're going to react any better? For the first time, John wasn't mired in grief or denial. For the first time, he just seemed kind of quiet. I'm sorry I've been so difficult. I shook my head. The circumstances are trying. Honestly, you managed to hold yourself together well. He nodded slowly, then a small smile crossed his lips. Thank you for telling PBG. I didn't... Oh god, sneeze. Or not. Oh my god, now my nose is gonna feel like shit for the next hour. He chuckled softly, and I know there was no point in denying it. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure someone was looking out for you. You did, and you were looking out for me too. Thank you. With a sigh, he stood up, wiggling the creaks out of his legs. I'm headed back to my dorm. Tell Miss Shizuka I wasn't feeling as well as I thought I was. You really shouldn't skip this much class. You already missed a full day. He shrugged. It's only school. I'll manage. As someone who's in college, I don't skip any classes because, holy crap, in college, if you miss one class, you're going to be behind for the whole semester, so... I'm seeing him do this, and I'm just really glad for them that this is apparently a high school. Because high school, the classes don't mean shit. With a half-hearted wave, he disappeared down the lane to Bluebell House. I frowned as I watched him go. At least, he seemed to be getting better? No, that was hard to say for sure. Sometimes I thought he was doing better, but then sometimes there were regressions. But I guess that was just how situations like this went. At least he was self-aware. Self-awareness went a long way when it came to things like this. When I got to the dorm that evening, exhausted after the tension of the day and having to explain to PBG and Shane why John hadn't come to class, all I wanted to do was sit and practice my game. But of course, things were never that easy. Oh, you lose. Thanks for playing. Did you lose again? Yeah, I moved to this new level of difficulty and now it's it's way harder. Really? Let me see. I climbed into my bed and sat against the back wall, positioned just right so she could see over my shoulder. Okay, go. I stared at her, not really willing to start playing again. I got the feeling that my watching me wasn't going to help me get any better. Well, go! With a sigh, I restarted the game. The loading screen cleared and I searched for my first few combos as the game's clock counted down. 3, 2, 1, go! I started off for a section of pink blocks to the left. No, there, the blue one! What? The blue one, on the other side. Not entirely sure what she was talking about, I switched to a set of blocks on the other side. Not that one. Oh, it set off a combo anyways. Look at you go. I gritted my teeth and looked for more combos, trying desperately hard to concentrate. Suddenly, my finger slipped off the phone. My eye was bouncing. Oh, we're gonna get mad at my arm. My eye was bouncing up and down on my mattress, making it difficult for me to keep things steady. Do you mind? Oh, sorry, I'm just so proud of you, Hana. Yeah! Look at you kicking butt. I frowned. Where was the combo I was going for? I swore I just had it. But by the time I found it again, my opponent found theirs. A herd of blocks were dropped by their monsters into my field, and I lost the game. It was the fastest game I lost yet. Wow, that's rough. Want to go again? I think I noticed some flaws in your technique. No, I think that's enough for tonight. I have homework to do. If you say so. I set my phone aside, making a mental note to set aside time for practice when Mai was at volleyball. Mai scooted over to the edge of my bed, patting me on the back with two of her famous back-breaking thumps. I really am so proud of you. I know you're going to make history, and I can't wait for it. I smiled in spite of my annoyance. Yeah. I hope so. Thanks, Mai. No problem. Thanks for even trying. Yay! Thanks to you, I'm finally close to my beloved Jared. Yeah. Why don't you do your homework? Fine, if I have to. I'm glad you're feeling better now, too, Hana. Did you say something? Nope, not at all. We heard her, though. The next day, John stayed for the entire class period. He still looked worse for wear, a good deal paler and less cheerful than he was before everything went down, but at least he was here. Shane tapped him on the shoulder at the beginning of class, making some kind of hand motions I didn't get. It looked like he was trying to throw a baseball. John motioned back, a slight smile on his face, and Shane finally relaxed, a smile breaking through his usually cold demeanor. I tried to hide my smile, but couldn't. Miss Shizuka kept glancing at me like I was secretly making fun of her or something. And that's why the international government bodies agreed to set aside a decent sum of money in case of an alien attack. The combination of the XCOM plans and the Kobayashi Maru prove that humans... I was so happy to see him finally recovering that I could barely contain myself. As soon as class ended, I bounded up to John, happy as a clam. Are clams typically known for being happy?
John.
John, hi. Before he even had a chance to speak, my request burst forth. Do you mind coming on a walk with me? I feel like I haven't gotten to talk with you in a while, and I kind of... miss it. Despite the suddenness of my request, John smiled. Of course I will. I've been meaning to talk to you about something anyways. As we gathered our things and left the class together, it was impossible not to notice Mai and Shane's leering faces. I stuck a tongue out of them both, then skipped out with John. Shane looks pissed off and Mai's like, yeah, they're gonna bang. John and I headed out to campus, where we picked a direction and took off. It was different walking around the academy with John, not worrying about getting to class on time or having a particular goal in mind. The buildings that usually look so oppressive at their scale and ornateness, especially compared to my old concrete building of a high school, now seemed like gleaming soldiers protecting us on our way. Suddenly, the academy was beautiful and vast. Despite a relatively small number of students and a handful of buildings that made up the campus, Asagao owned the land around for miles. The wide rolling spaces outside of the main hub of the school were common areas, kept clean and safe by campus patrols, and that was why so many students felt comfortable resting or eating in the fields nearby. It was kind of like a paradise, wasn't it? John and I walked through one of the fields together, smiling as the wind tousled our hair. I really love it here. Yeah, it's not bad. The smile slid off my face. John seemed preoccupied, and a cloak of disappointment fell around me. The beauty had cast a spell on me, and for some reason, I expected John to be acting the way he did when I first met him, when we first took that walk around the Asagao fields together. Of course, he wouldn't just magically be better. I, of all people, should know that. I wish there was something I could do to help you. You and Jacques were such good friends. You were there for each other when it mattered the most. Anybody with eyes could tell how much love and friendship you had for each other, even though one of you wasn't technically alive. Honestly, I kind of envied it. I wished I could be as close to someone as you were to Jacques.
Really?
Really? You aren't that close with Mai? Mai and I are close, but, well, I was kind of hoping we could be that close. Oh, kiss, kiss, kiss. Ah, I said it. I put my hands over my burning cheeks. John laughed. Well, I'm touched, frankly. No, but really, if you and I could keep on spending time together, and I could maybe make handling your loss a little easier, that would make me so happy. That's super cheesy. You're all cheese, aren't you? No. John laughed heartily. There's a lot of laughter going on here. Guys, I think I might have done something right. Coming from anybody else, I'm not sure I would believe them. But from you, Hana. John slipped his hand into mine. I believe you. John held my hand for the rest of the walk, right up until we went our separate ways in front of Primrose House. As I watched him leave, I held my hand to my chest. It still had his warmth. I wasn't sure where John and I stood regarding our feelings for one another. With everything that happened, it didn't seem the time to burden John with questions about where we were at or where this was going. Certainly, feelings were there, even if we never explicitly said anything about them. But I thought that was just as well. The way things were progressing, the way we felt. They were things that didn't need to be said. At least not yet. Not now. I was sitting in my room with Mai, watching a rather violent show about a group of humans trapped inside giant-sized walls trying to free themselves from their giant-like enemies, when there came a knock at my door. What show was that about? Mai paused the episode on her computer, rolling her eyes.
I can't believe this.
Wonderful. Great. Go ahead and get the door. I'm sure it's for you. As Mai... Oh, it's Attack on Titan, I'm pretty sure. As Mai hummed the series opening, I hastily crossed to the door and pulled it open.
John!
John! John stood at my door, a broad grin on his face. Hearing the music, he peered into my room. I drew the door closed behind me and stepped down to the hallway. What brings you here? Lightning fast, John grabbed my wrist and dragged me down the hall.
What?
Kidnapping! Shh! John dragged me out and off to one side of Primrose's house before finally letting go. I rubbed my wrists, trying to keep a lid on my anger. What was that about? Sorry, I just wanted to make sure we weren't overheard. I thought some more about your proposition. My proposition? Plan New Jacques 0.5. Why 0.5? You don't want to know. Anyways, I thought maybe this could be a thing, right? Maybe this could totally work. Not really, but maybe. We could totally do the thing. We could do this thing. And then I thought, well, why should we stop there? Jacques, God rest his soul, was always the star of any scene he was in. A little scene stealer he was. I'll never be able to match his God-given charm and charisma. No way, no how. But I could at least get a new bird and teach it all of Juliet's lines in the play. I don't quit the play, the show goes on, and it's a touching homage to Jacques, even if nobody knows the truth about what happened. What do you think? He beamed at me. Hesitantly, very haltingly, I put a hand on his arm. John, don't you think it would be easier to get an actual human to play Juliet's role? Of course not. What are you, crazy? He patted me on the head. Silly Hana, you know nothing of showbiz, but it's your innocence that makes you cute. My god, I can totally see this happening, yeah. Anyways, I've decided you are going to the pet store with me. And you will help me pick out a suitably intelligent replacement for my darling Jacques, God rest his soul. But we have to be sneaky about it. Despite the fact that John made this decision independent of any input from me, I was excited. For the first time, John was looking and acting like himself again. The color was back in his face and he was joking around in that fast-talking way he usually had. There was no way I could turn him down. Not after the week he had, and not with how much I wanted to be around him without Jacques' shadow looming heavy over us.
Yeah.
Of course. I offered before, didn't I?
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Anna. John clamped his hands over mine, shaking them fervently. This'll be great. Really it will. You won't regret this at all. We'll see about that. Why would I ever regret it? But John already let go and was heading down the lane.
See you later.
I'll see you this weekend. We'll take the train to the city, so maybe don't wear your uniform. Of course not. Did he take me for an idiot? Mai scooted back over on her bunk to make room for me as I... Sorry, I'm having trouble reading for some reason. Mai scooted back over on her bunk to make room for me as I entered the room, hiding something sheepishly behind her back. What have you got there? Definitely not a cookie.
What's up?
How'd it go? Everything good with Mr. Birdman? I think so. I really think so. Okay, that ended the sequence. Oh. The sad face is making it obvious this chapter is not going to go well. It's a couple minutes early, but this really does seem like a good stopping point. John is feeling better now. And Mai had a cookie, so I guess everybody's happy. So we are apparently going to get John a new bird. I assume it's going to be a parrot. That's the only explanation I can think of for how we teach Juliet's lines. So, alright, apparently we're going with Operation New Jacques 0.5. And we're going to see how that works out. So, next time, that's maybe what'll happen, or maybe Shane will say something stupid again. I've been Max, and see you next time for more Asagao Academy. Let's get a new bird club. Whoosh! Boom, boom.